George Pickens. It has been a strange year for him. And it's been a strange year for Mike Tomlin and his prior, because it's not working now. He had that golden touch where he could keep players who might be getting frustrated, might be getting upset from showing any signs of it publicly, keep it all in-house. We've already been over that with the Titans game on the Thursday night, the frustration during, immediately after, the next day. Whoa, Mike Tomlin. That stuff usually doesn't happen. So what we saw on Saturday was Pickens near the goal line against the Colts, not blocking, not trying. And this is a guy who prides himself on putting people on their ass. He told Kevin Clark when Clark was with the Ringer during the offseason that when the ball doesn't come his way, he's going to go out there and put somebody on their ass. He's going to play angry because, number one, he's frustrated he's not getting the ball. Number two, it attracts positive attention to him. This is not positive attention. He's not even trying to throw the block there. Now, he said yesterday, I was just trying to prevent a Tank Dell situation. The same thing that happened to him. I don't want to get an injury. When you stay on the block too low, you can get ran up on very easily. And you see at the end, he had to jump over the guy who was rolling in. But you know what? If he had just blocked the guy in front of him and driven him out of the end zone, he would have been standing when that guy came over. So I reject the explanation. The bottom line is he's upset. He possibly, if not probably, doesn't want to be in Pittsburgh anymore. It's just a bad vibe right now for the entire team. And Pickens, I think, is the most obvious symptom of a deeper disease with the Steelers.
That's right.
That needs to be eradicated after the season.
Yeah, listen, they dodged a bullet. They still scored a touchdown, right? But, let's remember in the situation, they scored a touchdown and, we weren't sure at first because he fumbled and the Colts recovered it, but then they realized, it was Trubisky, right? Crossed the goal line after the review and there was no fumble. But that's how close you are. You don't block a guy. He gets tackled at the 1 yard line. You make those type of mistakes. Yeah, you could come away with no points. Could dictate the game there. I know that wasn't the case there in that scenario, but I think what you're saying is the real point there. I mean, this is something we haven't seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they do under Mike Tomlin. Now, it's odd. And it's odd, I think, when you couple it together with the way they've looked on the field the last 3 weeks especially, and it doesn't seem like they've played with the same energy and physicality that we're accustomed to seeing a Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh team play with. I think there's that. But, yeah, these two damn young receivers from the new school, they're not, buying into the Mike Tomlin way right now. The old school guys are. Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick, it's still pedal to the metal. We're bringing it. But you're seeing that the message isn't getting through to some of these new school younger guys. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't set a good example. And, it certainly makes you question the whole thing there in Pittsburgh right now a little bit.
Pickens dismissed his critics for that lack of effort as guys who ain't never played a game. They're just media guys. Well, George, and I'm the outgoing president of the George Pickens fan club. I got a George Pickens jersey downstairs.
You compare him to Randy Moss
the day before
a few times, which is crazy, but you still have done it.
well, I see the potential there. Number one, if they would get the guy the freaking ball, and number two, the one thing he has in common with Moss, I play when I want to play. He's showing the wrong Randy Moss tendencies in not exhibiting any effort when it's time to block, especially given his history and his ability and the fact that he used to take pride in putting guys on their ass. So, look, I think the talent's still there. It's just gone sideways. It's gone haywire with him and the Steelers. And it's not just media that's pointing it out. Anyone with eyes who understands anything about the game watches that play and says, it's no different than when Deontay Johnson was standing around when the ball's bouncing down at his feet.
Right.
He's upset about the prior play.
Right. Or like his actions on the sidelines, right, during the game after they scored a touchdown. What game was that? I mean, that
was a Titans game.
Right. So, I understand, a little bit you're scared of people rolling up on your legs. There's ways to still block and kind of keep your feet off the ground and be ready for that, for sure. But, yeah, that was a total disregard for trying to block anything. I mean, that's where it's kind of inexplicable. We understand. He's a receiver. They're not expecting him to blow anybody down and knock him down and dominate him. He's not. But would they like him just to be, body presence on a guy? Absolutely. And that's where it's disappointing. And it's different than the Tank Dell injury, too. Tank Dell, if we got that clip, which I think we do, right? That was in the scrum. That was like him in the box of the front seven and dealing with like middle linebackers. Look, Tank Dell's in between the hashes right there. The running back runs him over. His leg gets stuck. You see right there. But, it's a little different than the guy on the edge there. And, you can't totally see. Well, there you see it more of a Tank Dell because Nico Collins was blocking him there. But, yeah, I mean, this is a guy we know that can block. He's physically dominated people before. And, this is the Titans game, right? We had frustration in the Patriots game, I believe. And do we have the B-roll of that on the sidelines? I mean, there's just too many things right now between him and Deontay Johnson where you just want to be like, guys, it ain't going to happen. Things aren't going to change. So deal with what it is right now and be a professional and just keep playing hard. Yeah, it's not going to change into, one of the greatest shows on turf. It's not going to happen. So you got to be professional and gut it out and work your way through this the rest of the year.
Mason Rudolph will take over at quarterback this weekend when the Steelers host the Bengals. That's on NBC. Coverage starts at 3 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, and that's one of many reasons to tune in. Will George Pickens change? Will he play differently? Will he play hard? Or will there be these periodic lapses, and they're becoming more frequent than periodic? And, he can try to brush off the criticism as saying it's just media guys who have never played the game, but his head coach himself, Mike Tomlin, said there's obviously, quote, obviously, room for improvement when it comes to George Pickens' overall effort. And he can say whatever he wants. And again, I'm a huge George Pickens guy. And maybe he's justified in being frustrated. Maybe it's a culmination of a season where, and we've said this, they don't scheme the offense to get the ball in his hands. What the hell are they thinking? This guy's a great talent. They're not getting the ball in his hands. What did Bill Belichick say after they beat the Steelers a couple of weeks ago? Our goal was to take away T.J. Watt and George Pickens. Bill Belichick knows what he can do. It feels like the Steelers are the one team in the NFL that doesn't know what he can do. And with or without a new coach, I have to wonder whether there's going to be a new start next year for George Pickens. He becomes the next Chase Claypool, who has done nothing since the Steelers traded him. He had that great rookie year, so-so second year, fallen off the map. Antonio Brown, when things went finally haywire for him, fell off the map. And so we'll see. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.